There is a lot of pressure on the SAAQ government. François Legault is scheduled to testify on Tuesday about the SAAQclic fiasco, and polls suggest the party might be completely wiped out in the next election. Here to take stock of the political landscape heading into the fall session is political analyst Raphaël Melançon. Hi, Raphaël.
Good evening, Matt.
Thanks for doing this. Let's start with SAAQclic. We heard last week some conflicting testimonies about who knew what when. The ministers have denied knowing about the cost overruns. The head of the SAAQ says he briefed top aides inside the Premier's office in March of last year. Legault is set to testify on Tuesday. What are you looking for from his testimony, and how big of a moment is this for him as Premier?
Well, of course, it's a historic moment, Matt, because, you know, we have not seen a sitting premier testifying in a public inquiry like this one in 15 years, actually. The last one who did that was Jean Charest, who testified in front of the Bastarache Commission, remember, at the time, on the appointment of judges under the Liberal Party. So 15 years, that's quite a while. And so this is very exceptional to see a sitting premier being called to testify in such an inquiry. And of course, what we're going to want to know is, to what extent was he aware of the situation within the SAAQ, and to what extent did he know about the delays, of course, but also the cost overruns? So what did he know and what did he not know? And just before François Legault will be testifying on Tuesday, we will also hear from his top advisor, his chief of staff, Martin Koskinen, who has been for many years, even before he became premier, his most trusted advisor. So he really is an important piece in this puzzle here as to how much did they know at the premier's office, and what did they do to prevent any more cost overruns in the end, and what did they do to protect either their elected officials or the public servants as well.
So the National Assembly is set to resume on September 16th, but with this testimony, do you think that that could change? Is there going to be any interruptions? How could this affect the start of the fall session?
I mean, obviously, Matt, this is a nightmare to start the fall for François Legault, especially at this crucial moment. You know, he's going nowhere right now with the SAAQ in the polls. They could be completely wiped out in an eventual election within the next 12 months. First of all, we know that he's planning on having a major cabinet shuffle. That could happen as soon as next week, could be postponed because of the situation with SAAQclic. But also, there are rumors right now on the Hill that the Premier could be tempted to ask the Lieutenant Governor to prorogue the current session in Parliament, to postpone the date, because right now elected officials, MNAs, are set to go back to Quebec City on September 16th, but that could be later, and we could have also a speech from the throne in Quebec City to start a new session.
Have we ever had a situation like this where you've got a government that has a majority, 86 seats in the National Assembly, but in the polls are currently polling at potentially winning 0 to 3 seats in the next election? How does that dynamic work, where you've got one party with all of the power and none of the support, and they're trying to pass laws like banning prayer in public, something they might need the notwithstanding clause for? What's that dynamic going to be like when Parliament does eventually resume?
Well, in our parliamentary system, whether we like it or not, a government has a mandate for 4 years. So unless there's an election, let's say François Legault decides to have a snap election this fall, which is probably not going to happen considering the situation where his party stands in the polls right now, he still has the legitimacy, technically, to continue and govern until October of next year, of 2026. So right now, he still has all the powers he needs, the majority he needs to pass bills in the National Assembly. And yes, as you mentioned, he can use that also to try and divert the attention, because, of course, let's face it, the circumstances right now where he's coming up with this new bill that Jean-François Roberge will be tabling this fall to ban prayers, and also potentially, like Jean-François Roberge said, it could also cover the ban of wearing religious symbols in public daycares. So that is all things that could stir the pot, but also divert the attention, the public's focus right now, on something else than SAAQclic and everything else that goes bad in this government at the moment.
All right, that's all the time we have, unfortunately. Lots to look forward to as the political season starts to ramp up again. Raphaël Melançon, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
It's going to be a very exciting and very busy season for us, so we'll be there to analyze it. See you next time, Matt.